Hello and welcome to the Un-American Football Show's weekly prediction episode. I'm your host Alan, taking a look back at the past week's action and predicting the future week when it's Thanksgiving. We've got Nate and we've got Ross. How are we doing, guys?
Yeah. From a Colts point of view, fantastic. Who saw that coming? Oh wait, Ross saw that coming,
right?
But no one else did. I saw another thing on American television where they had like 20 analysts and one predicted the Colts.
Yeah,
and the rest did the Bills. So yeah, I predicted the first half almost. I bang on. There was a field goal that the Colts got rather than the Bills, but that was the only difference in the projections. And then the Colts decided to blow up the game plan and win. So yeah, really good.
Jonathan Taylor became basically he went beast mode basically. And,
Yeah.
I didn't see the biggest scoreline coming, so I know we'll get onto it in a second. But yeah, incredible few results this week.
Yeah, another great week. Some crazy results, but I think not necessarily in the primetime games, but as I say, we'll pick up on those. Let's go into it now, in fact. So week 10, Thursday night football, it was the Patriots travelling to Atlanta, and the Patriots just absolutely steamrolled the Falcons 25-0. Same point differential was 28-3, just saying. Nate, you had the score of 34-28 to the Patriots, so you got a point for that. I had the Patriots winning 34-10. I get a point correct, and then bonus points for getting the margin, as does Ross, who predicted 28-3 as well. So you actually got the difference bang on there, Ross. Very nice.
I was worryingly close.
For me, yes.
I almost feel responsible for Ross's score there because he only went with that after I did the Super Bowl final score.
Right. But this game was dreadful, and I don't want to talk about it because it was just one-way traffic the entire way.
Move on to the best game of the weekend.
One of the games of the weekend, I guess, was the Colts travelling to Buffalo, and the Colts getting a surprise win, winning 41, a 40-burger against the Bills. So only Ross had the Colts winning this one. So you get the point, didn't get the margin. It was a blowout, which we didn't really expect. And obviously Nate and I are both going for the Bills, so we clearly didn't expect it at all.
Pain.
This may be a bit of a theme you may notice as we go through some of these scores that Ross got it right. Let's not talk about it too much. Let's go on to the Sunday evening game, which was Cowboys travelling to Arrowhead to take on the Chiefs. The Cowboys got 9, the Chiefs got 19. So Nate and I, again, we both went for the Cowboys. Regrettably, that was not the case. Funnily enough, Ross, you got it right. You got the Chiefs. So you get the point, but you didn't get the margin. It's a 10-point margin in the end as opposed to 3. A bit of a, I don't know, game sort of never felt like it got started. It felt like it got started and then it was just sort of like, whatever, from there on.
It's crap, wasn't it?
It wasn't a good game. There's no neutral enjoying that game.
Yeah, it wasn't even like there was a ton of big defensive plays outside the Chris Jones sacks, I guess, and a couple of interceptions. Yeah. So it's like when it's good defense, you at least want a lot of flash plays rather than just 3 and outs.
I don't
like we saw in Buffalo.
Yeah.
Although I don't like saying this, pun of the week I saw was sacked Prescott. That's very, very funny. Moving on to Sunday night football, we had the Steelers going to Los Angeles to take on the Chargers. And this is a game that I don't think I expected a lot from, and I think none of us did.
Nope.
The Steelers won. Wait, is that right?
No, they didn't.
Well, we've got it wrong on our sheet. They didn't win. The points are correct for us, though. So the Steelers lost narrowly, 37 points to 41. That's the game that we all expected to see in Kansas City, I think. So we all had the Chargers. We all got the margin wrong. We expected. Actually, no, you didn't, because it was a 3-point game. You deserve an extra point there.
You only get. That's true. You do. You actually get 2 points for that game.
You got 2 points. You got the margin, and then Ross and I expected more from the Chargers, but they decided to collapse in this game, which made it a lot more interesting. But yeah, it was actually quite an enjoyable game, to be honest. Any comment, or just move on? Move on. All right, cool. And then Monday Night Football, which we had just last night, since we're recording on Tuesday. We had a game we weren't particularly looking forward to. New York Football Giants travelling to Tampa Bay, and the Buccaneers winning 30 points to 10. We all had the Buccaneers winning, and Nate, unfortunately, you got just the 1 point for the Buccaneers. You predicted a 10-point margin. Ross and I both predicted 3-point margins, and they were correct. Again, though, Ross was not that far off getting it bang on again, which is, kudos to you. And you got all the games correct. What an incredible performance. Before we reflect on that, our top fantasy point scorer from the 5 games, Nate, you decided to jinx CD Lamb. Thank you very much for that. You got nil point. I went for Travis Kelce, who had a decent game, had a touchdown.
2 touchdowns.
2 touchdowns, you're right. And
but somehow wasn't the top scorer.
Yeah, unfortunately, well, I did say I was worried about him from a Cowboys perspective. The final catch on the last meaningful possession from the Chiefs in PPR meant that Tyreek Hill overtook Travis Kelce and beat him by 1 point, something, in the end. So, Ross, you got that as well. You got all 5 right, and you picked the best out of our 3 predictions. How are you feeling, buddy? You must be feeling top of the world.
I wish I could say I'm riding high, but the Saints got absolutely battered over the weekend, so it feels like a hollow victory in a way. But it's nice to get the first on what would we say?
Full house.
Full house on the Tough Show predictions episode, because we probably should have had one before week 11 if we're being honest. But
I mean,
it's been a weird year.
It's a task. And the NFL has been fucking weird this season. So it's not really much of a surprise that we've not been able to nail it.
Yeah.
I'll take it. So lots of points for me this week, which always makes me happy.
Yeah. And talking about points, you got 12 on the week. I got 9, and Nate, you got 4.
Let's just not talk about it. Forget it.
There's a switch round in the current finals, not final standings, but the current standings. I moved back up into second to get a 2-point lead over Nate on 62, and then Ross is 5,000 light years away ahead. If Ross didn't pick another game for the rest of the season, Nate and I might not catch him. So, if you want to do that, Ross, who am I to say?
This is hideously true, and it would be a beautiful mirroring of garbage time, wouldn't it?
Should we put me on the injury report? Have a week off.
Just put him on the Knobs reserve. Okay.
So, looking forward to week 12. This is the bumper week. This is Thanksgiving week. We have 7 games coming up. There's football as early as 5:30 in the afternoon on Thursday.
It's crazy.
Which is very exciting until you realise the Lions are playing.
And then you see their opponent as well.
Yeah.
But
before
that, there was we're flipping things up to try and haul Ross in, aren't we?
Yeah, well, I'm also saying we're flipping up. We're developing the format. We're very much about development here at the Tough Show.
Oh yeah.
So
that's right. Development.
Is this more collusion?
Exactly.
Is this more collusion?
It is more collusion. This is Scotland v England. It's not fucking Braveheart. This is the return of the English. So we're going to offer bonus points for some new criteria, I guess. So everything's going to be exactly the same. However, if you predict a shutout, a nil point, if you may like, and that happens, then you can have an additional bonus point. On the flip side, if you predict a 40 burger, we'll give you a point as well if it comes off. If you predict a 50 burger and it comes off, we'll give you an additional on top of the 40, so you'd actually get 2 bonus if you go for 50 and they get a 50. But obviously, you need to tie this in with if you think it's going to be a blowout, you're probably not going to go for that every game. Otherwise, you're not going to get the margins. So you still got to be careful about how you're predicting. But if you want to try and ramp up the score, put them up big. We've had plenty of 40 burgers this season, multiple in I think there was like 4 in week 10. So it's not beyond the realms of possibility.
2 of our games last week had 40 burgers.
Right. I mean, we probably wouldn't have predicted any of those, but
no.
The points are up for grabs. How are you feeling about that, Ross?
I guess you got to give you guys as much help as you can get. So.
Look, we've done it in a way that you can benefit from it
Yeah,
as much as we can.
If anything, this might extend my lead further. So
It could. And then we will have mud on our faces.
this could horribly backfire for you guys.
It could, but if it does, then we'll just laugh.
Yeah.
So it can't get much worse.
Well, we'll laugh and then not invite you back next year. That's what we'll do.
Yeah. If you guys don't see me next year, you guys know what happened.
Yeah. Anyway, so let's talk week 12. Let's say bumper week. We might have to try and keep it fairly short and sweet on some of these. Some of these games absolutely suck. Some of them are quite intriguing. So let's start with one that really sucks. So we've got Thanksgiving on Thursday, 5:30 p.m. Oh, that's lovely. Until we see the game, as I say, we have the Chicago Bears travelling to Ford Field to take on the Tim Boyle's Detroit Lions. Wowie, what a way to start the week. Nate, who are you feeling?
Neither, but I'm going to go with the Lions. I'm going to back them to break the duck. 16 points to 20. They are going to... I don't know why. I don't know. The luck's got to turn at some point. I don't expect them to get more than 2 wins through the remainder. And I'm being generous there. I don't know. The Lions are shit. The Bears are shit. I'm doing a whole reverse thing, like I keep doing with the Broncos. Last time I would have gone with anybody but the Lions. Just throw it at the Lions. Why not? Hopefully regain some of those points.
Yep, and it's backup versus backup. Andy Dalton likely to start for the Bears.
I can't back Dalton. I can't do it.
I can. I'm going for the Bears to win 23-10. I just think that the Bears have I think they're probably still better on offense, and they're still better on defense than the Detroit Lions. The Detroit Lions version of the TB12 is not the one that you've seen in New England or in Tampa Bay. And I just think, too much of a liability. Wide receiving groups, crap. Darnell Mooney's showing some bits. So, I'm going for the Bears. Who you got, Ross?
I agree with Alan. I'm picking the Bears.
Yes.
And I'm picking
we agree.
A score of 17-16, and it's very specific reasons. The Chicago Bears are ranked 29th in points per game with 16.3. The Detroit Lions are ranked just that one spot below them at 16 points per game exactly on offense. So I'm picking not that much more points.
Look at this. All right, it's not a stat box war, is it?
Well, it helps when I've got the notes right up in front of me, to be fair. I'm not going to remember them.
Maybe it should be a stat box war.
We did call you Dr. Ross last week, I think, on the podcast, but I think we expect it to be more of like medicine as opposed to science.
Albert fucking Knobstein over
here. Moving on. Hopefully a better game than the early window Thanksgiving evening. Afternoon, I guess, for the US. We have the Las Vegas Raiders traveling to Dallas, to Jerry World, to take on the slightly battered Dallas Cowboys. Ross, who you got? Stick with you.
Might be the slightly battered Dallas Cowboys, but still they're facing one of the teams that are much more battered, I think, in the Raiders. I'm picking the Dallas Cowboys. And in the spirit of our new 40 burger points available.
You slag.
I'm going to give the Cowboys offense a little bit of love. I think they're going to bounce back against a pretty bad Raiders team at this point. So I'm going to pick 41-17. That sounds good to me.
Well, good luck. If that comes off, I'm happy. I agree. I think the Cowboys are a bit battered. There's a chance to get Tyron Smith back at left tackle. And CD Lamb apparently is progressing well through concussion protocol. So I've got the Cowboys too. I've got them winning 17 points to 26. We're sort of on the hope that they get some of those like all pro level players back. And the Raiders are sort of like 2-3 weeks without some sort of like major incident going on with someone posting stupid stuff on social media or someone getting fired because of mishaps in the league and things like that. And the Raiders just haven't really recovered, I think, on the field in the wake of some of these changes. So I think the Cowboys have got enough to win. I don't have the confidence to score 40, given the injuries and stuff. But Here's hoping. Nate, are you going for a 40 burger too?
No, I'm not. I've not got any hope in a 40 burger. But I am back in Dim Boys. 31 points to 20. Cowboys good, but hurt. Raiders bad.
There you go. That is short and sweet. Thanksgiving evening, Thursday night football. We've got the Buffalo Bills traveling to the Superdome in New Orleans to take on the Saints. Friday, 1:20 a.m. Nate, who you got?
I've got Buffalo to beat. At this stage, what can only be described as a bad Saints team. They're on a slide, and I don't think it's going to end here. I think Buffalo in a bit of a slump, but this is the start of them bringing themselves about. I can't believe they're below the Pats. It's mental. But 24 points to 10, and that's the way it's going to go.
I'm going to go big. I'm going to go for the Bills as well. I'm going to go 40 burger.
Yeah, don't just throw 40 burgers in left, right, and centre, boys, will you? Fuck me.
Well, what I've done here is that I like that Ross has really backed the Cowboys to score 40, so I'm flip reversing it because I'm so in such a sad state in my life at this current moment in time, and putting the 40 on the Saints.
Fuck me.
So I'm going to go for the Bills to win 40 on the dot to 27. It's a 2-point margin. The Bills, I think, have had a few bad weeks. They probably need a bit of a get-right game, and this Saints team can put on points in garbage time. I think we saw that this past week. If the Eagles can blow away the Saints like they did, I think the Bills are a better football team than the Philadelphia Eagles. So, yeah, 40 points to 27 to the Bills.
Good
Ross, I
Lord.
imagine you haven't taken that very well.
No, that's okay. You have every right to your opinion and to make your prediction just as much as I do. And in this position, I'm going to go completely the opposite direction, and I'm just going to be a true homer. We do have our no homer segment in the audio show, but in this situation, I'm just going to take it. It's the primetime game on Thanksgiving. If I'm not supporting my team, both just watching the game and in the prediction show, then who am I as a Saints fan? So I'm picking the Saints 23-20. If you're going to ask me the logic behind it, there isn't any. So I don't have any for you. But that's all I've got for you guys.
Home field advantage, obviously massive in the Superdome. So always a difficult team to play. Passionate fans.
It's going to get loud in there. I think the
That's what
Bills are a little bit one-dimensional. They don't run the ball very well, whereas the Eagles did run the ball very, very, very well. One of the best running games in the league now. So I think that might help the Saints' defense, which still is actually good. Trevor Siemian is where our hopes might fall down, but we'll take it.
Yeah. Move on to Sunday. My goodness, I can't believe we've only just got to Sunday. What a week. We've got the Tennessee Titans travelling to New England, to Gillette Stadium to take on the New England Patriots. Ross, who are you feeling?
I'm selecting the Tennessee Titans. I don't love it. I think this is very much a week-to-week league, though, and I think everyone's hopped on board the Patriots bandwagon far too quickly and hopped off the Titans bandwagon far too quickly in what was a very, very weird game against Houston. They've had letdown games before against weaker opposition. Against better opposition, Tennessee always raises their game throughout the year, I would say. So I'm taking the Tennessee Titans 27-21. I think the defense steps up and makes Mac Jones look like a rookie again.
Interesting. I disagree. I'm going for the Patriots. I'm bandwagoning all the way. I've got the Patriots winning 20 points to 24. I think the reason is that, the Titans are weird, you're right. Like, they've lost to the Jets and they've lost to the Texans. Like, no one else does that except for the Tennessee Titans in 2021. AJ Brown sort of struggled in last week with a hand injury. Ryan Tannehill threw 4 picks, and this Texans defense really isn't very good. They're starting to see some more of those cracks that we thought we'd probably see without Derrick Henry. The wide receiving group's not very good, and on defense they've lost some players like Bud Dupree to IR and things like that. So I just don't think they're quite what they have been in previous weeks. Whereas the Patriots are just looking solid. They're looking solid on offense, they're looking good on defense, and I think they'll do enough to win this game on the road. Nate, you feeling the same way?
Yeah, I'm going with the Patriots. 31 points to 25. I think we might just be seeing, like you said, I think we might just be seeing the Titans maybe we expected we would without Derrick Henry offensively. Remember, AJ Brown is not firing at the moment. Something's up with him at the moment. Julio can play like one snap a game before he goes out injured, or he just doesn't do anything, and then you're relying on Ferguson,
Westbrook, Sakina,
Chester Rogers.
Yeah,
I mean the guy absolutely muffed a punt and stuff, like dodged out of the way and then kicked it. Like what a knob.
Tried to control it with his foot.
So I think the Pats are looking better. They're defensively very sturdy unit, and as much as I hate to say it, Mac Jones just looks better and better every week.
Adrian,
it's not to say they're not going to win. They're not going to lose more games this season. They'll absolutely lose more games this season. I just don't think it's it.
Adrian Peterson, 100-yard, couple touchdowns. Bold prediction.
Was that
sorry?
Rest of season
Sorry, is this 2012?
Bold prediction. He gets back in his time machine and he looks like a 2012 Adrian Peterson again. No, all he needs to be is 2016 Adrian Peterson, I think.
Yeah, interesting. I mean, one thing that you can always say about the Pats is they're usually well organised. Like, their special teams are usually amazing, and we definitely saw some strange stuff from the Titans on special teams last week. So I think that probably could be a significant difference. Moving on to 9:25, we have the Minnesota Vikings travelling to San Francisco to take on the 49ers. Nate, you going to be blowing the horn of these Vikings on this one?
Hey, I am, yeah, obviously. It's the Niners. Niners suck. I've got the Vikings winning this 34 points to 21. I don't like the Niners. They've had a couple of good games. It doesn't make them a good football team. Jerry's still out on whether Brandon Ayuk is back or whether he's breaking the terms of his parole and he's going to get locked up again. But I think Kirky Cousins is doing everything he can to prove me wrong this season, and I think he's going to continue in that vein. Easy win for the Vikings.
I like the Niners. I've backed them numerous times, and I back them again. I've got them winning 34 points to 26 at home. Well, being at home is an important thing, but also they're sort of getting into their groove of how they can win games, and they need to sort of win games in a certain way. But I think, like this past week, you mentioned about Brandon Ayuk just then, 7 receptions on 7 targets and a touchdown. Josh Kittle's now had 3 weeks in a row with a touchdown. He'd never actually had 2 consecutive weeks with a touchdown, so he's firing in the red zone, potentially as well as he's ever done on that basis. Deebo Samuel, he can do anything. Wide receiver in the backfield. He's a real, can't think of the word now, but like a pocket knife. He can do everything. He's got everything on there. So I think the Niners have enough to beat this Vikings team, which usually have very close games, but they don't regularly play well 2 games in a row. So I think this is their down week. So I'm going for the Niners. Ross, going to split the difference? Who you got?
I agree Vikings play close games, and I agree they have been a little bit hot and cold. But I think from what I saw, I'm back in on Kirky Cousins. So I'm taking the Vikings 24 points to 30. I think they're the only team this year that every single game they played is a 1-score game, which is pretty ridiculous to be week 12 and every game has been a 1-score game. I think Mike Zimmer was saying he's losing hair. He doesn't have much. There's not much more he can lose at this point. So he's going to be bald by the end of the year. But that's the only reason I picked it as a 1-score game is because Vikings haven't had anything other than that this year. Because I don't believe in the 49ers. I think Kirk Cousins is proving himself as a top 12 quarterback, as I mentioned in the preseason. And I think Vikings win, and they get on a good little streak here.
Nice bold prediction there. Mike Zimmer to be bald by the end of the season.
If
Moving on
he
to-
shows any signs of baldness, you can get a 10-point bonus.
No, we're not throwing points around like that.
We absolutely fucking are.
Sunday night football, we have a divisional game, and we have the slightly dodgy Cleveland Browns travelling to Baltimore to play the slightly dodgy Baltimore Ravens. 1:20 a.m. kickoff on Monday. Ross, this is a tricky one for me to call. Who are you feeling on this one?
Yeah, it was a tricky one. And I still don't know if I have a lot of belief in the pick, but I'm picking the Cleveland Browns to win 27
Of course he
points.
is.
27 points to 23. I don't love the prediction, but a lot of it depends on Lamar Jackson, obviously. We don't know if we're going to get Lamar Jackson, and we don't know what kind of Lamar Jackson we're going to get. This would probably be a bigger score for the Browns. If I didn't think Lamar Jackson was going to play. But I think Lamar Jackson's going to play, but Nick Chubb is going to control the ground game for the Browns, and they still come out of there with the victory.
I'm going to go for the Ravens. I think you're right around Lamar Jackson. I think if he's back, they win this game. It's Sunday evening, so he's got plenty of time to try and recover from this illness that he's got. They're also without Hollywood Brown this past week, so he might be back as well. And this Browns offense in particular just looks ropey. Nick Chubb, love him, fantastic player. Still me without Kareem Hunt. The Baker is playing injured and looks like he's playing injured, and I just don't have that much confidence in them scoring much. I might actually have to change my prediction here, actually, just because I don't think that there's going to be enough. These two teams both play quite slowly. I was going to go for 16-32, but I'm going to change it to 16-24, because I just don't think there's going to be that many points put up in this game, just because the pace of play is so slow. Nate, your chance to split the difference? Browns or Ravens? Who you got?
I'm going to go with the Ravens. I think the Browns. I think you described them as ropey, and I think that's incredibly astute. They are incredibly ropey. I saw that Kareem Hunt might be back, but you can't expect anything from him having had so many weeks out. He might get a handful of snaps for short yardage. Could result in a touchdown, perhaps, but I don't expect any more than that. I genuinely don't know where to go with the score, though. So I'm going 17 points to 27. I almost dropped to 40 burger on the Ravens.
Result. I think it's the time to do it, Nate. We've both.
But I don't believe it. And I know I didn't believe the Pats, but a 40 burger from the Ravens is nowhere near as funny as them repeating the Super Bowl winning scoreline, so it's not going to happen. 17 points to 27. And that's purely because you reduced your winning margin.
My influence knows no bounds. I can tell.
So I think I'm just trying to cover you on that one a little bit.
I can tell that you're looking up the standings and taking influence from my greater record, and that's there's no greater form of flattery than imitation. So thank you, Nate. That's very kind of you.
Well, it wasn't intended to be imitation. It's more. I can't afford to lose any more points to you, let alone Ross. But yeah, no.
Well, maybe this is your opportunity to catch up. Monday Night Football. We've got the Seahawks of Seattle travelling to the nameless Washington football team. Tuesday, 1:15 a.m. UK kickoff. Nate, this is your chance to go 40. Go 40 or go home. That's never been said before. Are you going 40? I can see you're already at home.
Seahawks at Washington is possibly one of the worst matchups I could think of for prime time right now. The Seahawks are dreadful. They can't buy a win. They can't even buy a touchdown most of the time at the moment. They got shut out by the Packers a couple of weeks ago. I don't even know what they did this week. I've shut them out of my mind
They lost
entirely. Yeah, of course they did. So I'm going to 17 points to 33, and I've just put more points on Washington than I had before, but I don't trust that 40 burger. The 17-33 is still a handy gap there. I like Heineke. He's doing a lot of things right at the moment, as opposed to the Seahawks and Russell Wilson who are doing everything wrong. So there we go.
Yeah, I mean, this game makes me a little bit nervous. And I kind of wanted to change my prediction because you've gone for Washington. But I do think that Washington win this football game. So I've got Washington winning 23 points to 26. I think the Seahawks will generally get better on offense with Russ back, obviously, because he's an elite quarterback and he's still recovering from his injury. He's getting his head back in the game. They've been damaged by their run game, losing Chris Carson, who's now had season-ending surgery on his neck. So it's now this sort of weird combination of Rashard Penny, Travis Homer, and Alex Collins. Most football fans probably don't know who any of those guys are. So that's really taking a back seat. And they keep going to the run, and it's not really great for Seattle, I don't think. But Washington have had a bit of a purple patch in the last few weeks. And I think they're going to continue it with a win against Seattle, 23-26. Ross, are you going against the flow?
I am.
Yes. Excellent.
I have Seahawks winning 30-24 in a game that is far too good than either of these teams deserve to put on in terms of a performance. But I just think Russell Wilson against this Washington defense, which has disappointed all of us, I think, apart from you, Alan, but definitely performed below your expectations this year. And neither team's good. And I think there's a lot of points scored. And it's a fun one to watch, even though no one will be watching it because no one cares about this game.
I only care about this game purely now from a fantasy or beating your prediction, Ross, which, that makes it fun for us, at least. So that's the slate of games. Bumper week, pretty exciting. We need to pick our top fantasy point scorer from the 5 games. Now, you came third, which looked like what I was saying last week. Just to clarify, in case you didn't know. You have first dibs on anyone from these games. Who is going to bring home the points for you?
Now, I might as well be pulling out a 40 burger here, because I don't think it's possibly unlikely to happen. I just got a feeling about Justin Jefferson this week. That 49ers defence is trash. Michael Pittman absolutely scorched them in a monsoon.
Mm-hmm.
Kirk Cousins and Carson Wentz are playing incredibly close together on the stat line. They're playing really similar football at the moment. And Justin Jefferson probably has a little bit more talent and is probably seen as a better wide receiver at this stage than Michael Pittman. Certainly, he's got a year on him. So why not? Justin Jefferson. He's going to go and bag a couple of touchdowns and 100 yards.
I think going with your heart is a good one. I pulled myself from going with my heart last week, and I made a comment that I was going to go with someone from the Chargers-Steelers game, and the person I was going to go with was Austin Eckler. And the reason I didn't was because he'd had some bad weeks previously. Justin Jefferson's in a similar situation. He's not had any fantastic weeks recently. This could be his massive bounce back.
He had a good week this week.
Yeah, okay, yeah. Prior to this week, he had a couple of down weeks. So I think that could be a good prediction. I'm going for DS, not Dalton Schultz, as I'm sure you guys thought. I'm going for Deebo Samuel, my man from the Bay. I just think he is a Swiss Army knife. I remembered the phrase.
Interesting.
Yes. Deebo can do it all. Plays everywhere, scores from anywhere. I think he's just such a massive focal point of this offense this year. And I think he's going to have a good game, He's good for PPR. He's good for scoring touchdowns. If he scored all of the points for the Niners this week, I wouldn't be surprised. So, well, maybe bar point extra attempts. Fuck it, get him on them. We probably can do that as well. Deebo all the way. Ross, who are you hoping gets you back-to-back wins from a fantasy perspective?
I'm between 2 players. But I think you talked about focal point of offenses there, and I don't think there's anyone who's more of a focal point of an offense on the Browns than Nick Chubb. I think he carries that team. They're going to give him the ball a lot. And he's always just one good cut away from breaking it, because we know he has the straight line speed, the strength to stay on his feet through tackles. So if he gets a couple of long ones, a couple of TDs, then I think we could be onto a good fantasy week for Nick Chubb.
Yeah. So Ross has gone full Chubb. I've got Debo, and Nate, you've got JJ for the week ahead.
Ross got a Chubb.
Great. Well, what a week. I'm really looking forward to it. More football sooner in the week is the sort of thing that dreams are made of. Does make Red Zone on Sunday a bit funny because there's less games, but still, spread it out. Loving it. Any final words from you guys ahead of week 12?
Fuck the Titans. And fuck the Pats. Fuck them all.
That's going to be an awful game for you to watch then.
I'm not watching it.
Yeah. Looking forward to Thanksgiving. That was a good day in the footballing calendar.
Great. Well, cheers, guys. And as always, if you enjoyed the show, please drop us a comment, a like, or subscribe. Please also check out our other shows and podcasts. They're available on Spotify, Apple Pods, Amazon Music, etc., etc. And come and give us a follow on Twitter at Tough Show Official, or come join our Discord community to talk good football and bad football with good people from around the world.
And bad people.
Sorry?
Good and bad football with good and bad people.
No, they're all good people. We were very blessed with a very nice community of people. A few too many Broncos fans than I would like in recent weeks, but all good jokes and fun in there. So yeah, find out more about those in the description below and on our Twitter page. And in the meantime, let's enjoy another week of great football. And for those of you celebrating Thanksgiving, enjoy, have some turkey and cranberry or whatever you do for me. So thank you for joining, and goodbye.